Hello Sentinels fans! I have another list of distinguished cards for you today. Or was it yesterday? Or tomorrow? Well, you see, it can't be much of a multiverse without time travel. And where there's time travel, there's time shenanigans. Our big time travelers are Omnitron, Visionary, Chrono Ranger, La Commodora, and Tachyon. But wait, I hear you say from the future, Tachyon is a speedster, not a time traveler. To which I say, many speedsters in superhero media can time travel. Tachyon is named after a faster-than-light particle. La Commodora occasionally sees her time travel without realizing it. And explain this card. I think she qualifies. Her distinguished cards are Lightspeed Barrage, Fleet of Foot, Research Grant, and Hypersonic Assault. The entire point of her deck is focused around Lightspeed Barrage. This card allows you to deal one target a lot of damage based on the amount of burst cards in your discard pile. Tachyon has 17 burst cards in her deck, allowing for a very high damage potential for a single card play in the late game. And she has 3 of these. 17 times 3. That's a lot of damage. Fleet of Foot will always be my favorite of the burst cards because it's a free card draw for the whole party, a free card play for Tachyon, and a burst card in the discard. It's one of those cards that can only be a good thing for the player. Research Grant is an excellent way to cycle through Tachyon's deck, drawing 2 cards and discarding 1. It provides enough extra card draw to allow her to keep up with the card play that her HUD goggles provide, and give more options for tossing burst cards. And of course there is the Hypersonic Assault, one of the strongest cards in the game. When played, Tachyon hits all non-hero targets, and those targets successfully hit by that attack can't deal damage until their next turn. This can be of astronomical benefit to the heroes if timed well, essentially blocking all attacks for 1 turn. Next up is Visionary. Visionary's time travel is less physically going anywhen, except that one time, and more about looking into the past and the future, on top of many other psionic abilities that she has. Her distinguished cards are Precognition, Prophetic Vision, Suggestion, Rest of Mind, and Twist the Ether. Can't have much of a Visionary without her visions. Precognition and Prophetic Visions represent them. One looks at 3 cards in the villain deck and allows you to choose 1 to stay on top and put the rest on the bottom, and the other does the same thing for the environment deck. It is great for bringing out only the least damaging cards or allowing you time to prepare for big hits. Suggestion is in the same vein as the vision cards, except it does one even better. You can take 2 cards out of the villain's discard and set 1 on top and the other on the bottom of the villain's deck. This allows you not only preparation, but choice in what you're going to be dealing with on the next turn, as well as removing cards from the trash for those villains where that would matter, like Citizen Dawn or La Capitan. Twist the Ether is a card that allows Visionary to morph reality a bit, changing the nature of an attack and making them either stronger for your heroes or weaker for your villains. Sticking a permanent damage reduction on the main villain can seriously reduce their threat level. Rest of Mind is one of Visionary's amazing but pretty situational cards. It basically allows her to take over the mind of a target that isn't the main bad guy, and redirect all attacks dealt by them to a target of your choosing. The only real downside is that it hurts both Visionary and the target afterwards. Zipping in from the future, we have Omnitron X, a version of the robotic villain Omnitron that learned empathy and immediately went, "Oh crap, I'm a murderer," and went back in time to try and fix things. His distinguished cards are Reset, Technological Advancement, Electro Deployment Unit, and Self-Sabotage. Omnitron is possibly one of a very few that actively time travel during fights. You see that with his base power, his Slip Through Time card, and my choice for mentioning, his Reset card. Reset shuffles Omnitron's discard into his deck before allowing him a card draw in play. It makes everything that you have already spent from him available again, bringing him back to a start, but with your current improvements still in play. If you have lost anything, or you want a chance of getting some good cards back, this will do it. Just don't play every copy of Reset at the same time, as all of them will end up in your discard when you are done messing with the timeline. Technological Advancement is the card you need if you want to really build him up. It allows you to summon equipment cards of your choice to the field. Need to protect him? Summon a plating. Need to deal damage? Get a plasma cannon up. This is an essential card for the particular build you are looking for. As for the components, I'd like to point out the electric deployment unit. It is an unassuming little device that can either speed up your card draw or play a card at the start of your turn. The lovely thing about this is that components played this way will immediately take effect as it is still the start of your turn, instead of having to wait for your next turn. However, like all the other components, it is fragile and will be destroyed if Omnitron takes 5 or more damage in a single turn. So try to have the proper plating equipped to prevent that. And then there is self-sabotage. This is an excellent way to deal a ton of damage in a single sitting. If you sacrifice enough components, you can deal one target twice the damage as the amount of components sacrificed. It's excellent for a finisher, nuking a high HP target, or for using the Omnitron U variant to really ruin the bad guy's day. Portaling in, we have everyone's favorite time-traveling cowboy, Chrono Ranger. This guy has made it his business to show up and destroy all monsters so as to prevent the final wasteland from happening. To this end, he uses high-tech weaponry and time shenanigans in addition to his trusty 6-shooter to do the job. His distinguished cards are, by any means, Displaced Armory, Jim's Hat, and Hunter and Hunted. Chrono Ranger loves to single out targets for special attention, and that's where his bounties come into play. They are all useful in their own situations, but I have settled on my favorite one for this list, By Any Means. This bounty is placed on a bad guy of your choice and will increase all damage dealt to it by 1, which of course will make the target much deader much quicker. It is useful for every situation, which is why I choose it for this. I had difficulty selecting an equipment of his for the next one. Lots of players like the Masada, I prefer the compound bow, but sometimes what you really need is a temporal grenade, so I decided to take the easy route and use Displaced Armory. This card allows you to summon an equipment from the deck or discard. Think of it like taking from the future or from the past. Whatever you need, Khan's got your back. She will get you something you need. But nobody will argue that a cowboy's best friend is his hat. Jim's Hat allows him to play an extra card per turn. With so many excellent cards in his deck, this is very effective. It is also great in part of the next card I will talk about. You see, you will have to note that all of Chrono Ranger's one-shot cards, effectively half his deck, have the effect of allowing you to deal a target 1 projectile damage. Chrono is essentially taking pot shots at the bad guys. Good plink damage scales very well with damage boosts, like By Any Means, or the next distinguished card, Hunter and Hunted. Hunter and Hunted is a card that increases damage dealt to and by Chrono Ranger based on the amount of bounties he has in play. This means that while he will receive lots more damage, each individual shot he makes can deal anywhere from 1 to 6 extra damage. 1 point of damage? Try 7. Per card play and power use. What is he firing from that pistol? Cannonballs? Now, these characters are all excellent at messing with the future and the past. But of course, there is only one true master of the time stream, and that is La Commodora. This Spanish corsair has been at this for decades, and she isn't slowing down yet. Her distinguished cards are Weigh Anchor, Run Aground, Temporal Sweet Spot, Temporal Rigging, and Timeless Treasure. Commodora has a lot of equipment to work through, and only so many card plays. To help speed up that process, she has Weigh Anchor. I like to think of this card as Commodora leaving the fight to pick up some stuff, and coming back at the moment she left. This card allows her to play a card from the bottom of her deck, and if it was an equipment, then she does it again. This can guarantee 1 or 2 card plays, but you can use the Helm and Maria Elena's plot to set up a chain, or stack the deck, using Rudder and the Time Stream to get more card plays set up. If you're judicious with this, you might even play 10 equipments in 1 turn and get a powerful burst when you are done. Run Aground can be one of the cards you work up to when playing Commodora. It takes her equipment cards in your trash and turns them into 1 instance of irreducible damage, a powerful blow. However, it shouldn't be your only plan, as it places those equipments back into your deck. Temporal Sweet Spot is a wonderful card for getting big bursts of action. When in play, this card allows each hero, at the end of Commodora's turn, to show the top card of their deck and act on it if it happens to be a one-shot. This card does eat one of Commodora's equipment or ongoings in play at the start of her turn, so to keep it going, it takes a bit of effort. And of course, I wish to talk about my favorite of the equipment, the bits of La Paradoja Magnifica that she uses to assist the heroes. Most of these equipments require a card discard at the top of Commodora's turn, which can be used to her advantage for run aground. For this, I have selected Timeless Treasure and Temporal Rigging. Timeless Treasure provides a card draw for 3 heroes, so it pays for itself and helps out 2 of your friends. If you have 2 copies of it out, then you can provide cards to the whole team at no cost. Eat your heart out, Freedom 6 Tachyon! Temporal Rigging is a wonderful card in that, for the low cost of 1 card per turn, you give a free power use to any hero, which can result in some wild turns depending on who gets it, but it will guarantee some good results for you. And now it is time for this video to end. I hope your time was well spent and that this video was enlightening. I hope you have a wonderful time, and take care, friends. Time jokes.